There we go. We are back. Let me make a new notes here. Alright. This is a module I've been dreading, which is file transfers. And the reason is because I kind of screwed myself and put all my eggs in one basket with only focusing on Linux. So, that being said, I'll make a new node. And these cherry tree notes do get updated and uploaded to the public Gitbook repo, which everyone has access to. So, anytime you see me taking notes, you also can access those notes as well. But with that being said, just show you what I'm doing over here. So we'll take a new one, file transfer. We'll do one for Windows. I feel like I'm gonna fly through the Linux one, but this Windows is going to be very new. All right, here we go. All right, Windows file methods. The Windows OS has evolved. New versions come with different utilities for file transfer operations. Understanding file transfers can help both attackers and defenders. Attackers can use various file transfer methods. Let's use Microsoft Astroth attack blog post. Blog post starts out talking about fileless threats. Fileless is doesn't come in a file. They use legitimate tools built into a system to execute an attack. This doesn't mean that there's not a file transfer operation, as discussed later in this section. The file is not present on the system but runs in memory. The Astroth attack generally followed these steps. A malicious link and spear phishing email led to an LNK file. What is an LNK file? Caused execution of the WMIC tool with the -format parameter, which allowed the download and execution of malicious JavaScript code. The JavaScript code in turn downloads payloads by abusing the bits admin tool. All the payloads are base64 encoded and decoded using the certutil tool, resulting in a few DLL files. The Regest VR32 tool was then used to load one of the decoded DLLs, which decrypted and loaded other files until the payload Astroth was injected into the user init process. Below is a graphical depiction of the attack. Spear phishing into a zip file, unzips to LNK, WMIC downloads an XSL file. Okay, so this is just a little history lesson. XSL to JavaScript to bits admin to download to payloads, JavaScript to certutil and register 32. Okay, I'm sure people that run a lot of boxes and are familiar with Windows knows what all this is, but this is a completely foreign language to me at the moment. So, here we go. We have access to machines MS02 and we need to download a file from our Pwnbox machine. Let's see how we can accomplish this using multiple file download methods. Depending on the file size we want to transfer, we can use different methods that do not require network communication. If we have access to a terminal, we can encode a file to base64 string, copy its contents from the terminal, and perform the reverse operation, decoding the file in the original content. Let's see how we can do this with PowerShell. An essential step in using this method is to ensure the file you encode and decode is correct. We can use MD5 sum, program that calculates and verifies 128-bit MD5 checksums. Digital signatures as well, I believe. The MD5 hash functions as a compact digital fingerprint of a file, meaning a file should have the same MD5 hash everywhere, assuming it's not compromised. Let's attempt to transfer a sample SSH key. It can be anything else from our Pwnbox to the Windows target. Pwnbox check, SSH key, MD5 sum, ID RSA. So it just takes a hash of the ID RSA key, hatch the key, base64 encodes it, and then whatever W0 equals, and pushes it out. We can copy this content and paste it into a Windows PowerShell terminal, and use some PowerShell functions to decode it. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how to use PowerShell. Not like this. Write all bytes. Finally, we can confirm if the file was transferred successfully using the get file hash cmdlet, which does the same thing. Write all bytes from this file, converts them to base64. That's it. Confirming the MD5 hash. Oh, it's getting write all bytes. I'm assuming this is a retrieval method from C drive users public ID RSA. And then it just confirms the hash, which a lot of softwares and applications already do. Thank you, Con. I appreciate it. It's been a few months, so wanted to change it up a little bit. Sick of having to blow my hair out of my face. Who keeps calling me? I don't know who that is. PowerShell web downloads. Most companies allow HTTP and HTTPS outbound traffic through the firewall to allow employee productivity. Leveraging these transportation methods for file transfer operations is very convenient. Still, defenders can use web filtering solutions to prevent access to specific website categories, block the download of file types, or only allow access to a list of whitelisted domains in more restricted networks. I really hope there's a cheat sheet for this. Okay. With the cheat sheet, I'm not as worried. I'm almost not worried at all. I'm happy with this. PowerShell syntax is wild. Because again, all I've done is Linux. And even at work, I use PowerShell to SSH into a Linux machine. We can specify, what is this? PowerShell web downloads. Most companies allow HTTPS and HTTP outbound traffic through the firewall to allow employee productivity. Leveraging these transportation methods for file transfer operations is very convenient. Still, defenders can use web filtering solutions for access to specific web categories, block the download of file types, or only allow access to a list of whitelisted domains in more restricted networks. PowerShell offers many file transfer options. In any version of PowerShell, the SystemNet Web Client class can be used to download a file. You know what? That's a good note. We are going to throw that in the Git book. There we go. Following table describes web client methods for downloading data from a resource. Alright. Just want to turn the volume up a little bit. And then let me get my notes back. Okay. Method, open read, returns the data from a resource. Actually, that's probably too bad. There we go. I like that. Okay. Open read, returns data from resources as a stream. Is this worth saving? Web client methods for downloading data from a resource. Is this PowerShell? Oh, web client.openread. That's what it's saying. The web client methods. System net web client. Yeah. This is take screenshot. Ooh. Let's get all this in there. Copy, and I'm gonna throw this in the Git book. And remember, these are going up on, or not on the Git book, excuse me, Cherry Tree. These will be up on the Git book though. Which is publicly accessible for everybody. Let's explore some examples of methods for downloading files using PowerShell. PowerShell download file method, file download. Specify the class name and the method. Download file with the parameters corresponding to the URL of the target file to download and the output file name. I just want to check the cheat sheet. Interesting. I'm gonna also put that on the Git book. File download. Example, new object, net web client, download file. Oh. Let's see. And this is going in the Git book. Bang. Love that. Okay. Perfect. Alright, that one's on. PowerShell download string. Are we gonna hit every single one of these? Download file, download string. No. Fileless. As we previously discussed, fileless attacks work by using some operating system functions to download the payload and execute it directly. PowerShell can also be used to perform fileless attacks. Instead of downloading a PowerShell script to disk, we can run it directly in memory using the invoke expression cmdlet or the alias IEX. Window file transfer methods, IEX, download string, invoke Mimikatz PowerShell 1. IEX also accepts pipeline input. Okay. Invoke web requests. PowerShell 3 onward invoke web request cmdlet is also available, but is noticeably slower at downloading files. You can also use IWR, curl, and wget instead of invoke web request. Common errors of PowerShell. There may be causes when the Internet Explorer can be bypassed using basic parsing because the Internet Explorer engine is not available. Specify the use basic parsing param. SMB 445 Common Enterprise. Windows services are running. Can use SMB to download files from our Pwn box easily. We need to create an SMB server in our Pwn box with SMB server pi from Impact and then use copy move, PowerShell copy item, or any other tool that allows connection to SMB. Create the SMB server. What up, Nat? It's been a minute, brother. Finally back in the dojo. And I'm dreading this module because oh gosh, this Windows stuff is going to be a whole nother learning curve. Copy file from SMB server. Create the SMB server with the username and password. Sudo impact SMB server. Mount the SMB server, FTP downloads. sudo pip3 sudo python 3. These are all from. What happens if I start a PowerShell? Wow, it's not gonna work. Why does that work? But will dir also work? Dir also works. What? Get AD. This is some pretty heavy shit. Why would I? What are these modules in this? Using the webdev Python module. See, these seem pretty unorthodox. Let's see, where is the, here it is. Step-by-step solution for questions, wow. Alright. From the web root using wget, okay. Let's spawn that. What would be, okay, finally, we get to go in the CLI. It's been forever. Yo, terminal. Here we go. C downloads sudo open VPN. Let's do ls-latr so we won't reverse. It should be an academy, right? Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Sudo open VPN. Clear sudo open. You guys can't see that, right? Oh yeah. Whoa, why is my screen so far off? What? There we go. Okay. Can make that bigger. I botched that. There we go. Do I need a PowerShell one then? I mean, if I'm using wget, assuming it would be Linux, I would just use this. I would say wget http. I'm assuming that we're running on port 80. And if it's a web root directory, then it's just backslash. And it'll just be flag.txt. And it was. Look at that. I'm already a Windows master. Cat flag.txt. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Bang. Alright. X1, upload the attached file. Whoa. What? RDP to the address with user and password. Upload the attached file named upload WinZip. To the target using the method of your choice. Once uploaded, RDP to the box, unzip the archive, and run hasher upload underscore win. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we need to upload first. So we could do. Let's check that Windows cheat sheet actually. Let's get a little weird. the invoke web request. Let's try this. I don't even know if that'll run. Command that phone. Figured. Okay. PowerShell. Will you work? You did. Alright. Invoke dash web request dash URI HTTP boom boom boom. Let's get rid of you. Let's make you big. And then we are going to get the IP address. Gonna assume it's port 80. Can't spell. Method. Host. The flowchart is this file transfer module for Windows, which I think is going to take the longest time. The Linux one, I think we're going to absolutely cook through. And then assuming we get done with that pretty fast, I'm going to take a break to make dinner for 30 minutes and then come back and run a box. But we are going to see how long this module takes because the window portion makes me a little nervous. Here we go. File download, file upload. Where was that? Invoke web request. Here it goes. From PowerShell 3 onwards is also available and noticeably slower. Ooh. What's in Fastnote? Okay, so we can't get rid of Fastnote yet because that password is for over the wire. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a new one so we don't even have to worry about Fastnote. And then I'm gonna take this, copy, we're gonna go CD downloads. There we go. Actually, before that, ls-latr upload underscore WinZip. So that's what we're gonna do. Method post upload underscore win dot zip. Really? Oh. Post dash body? You don't have the permissions to access the requested directory. Interesting. There's gotta be some way to. Is RDP a standalone? How do I RDP? Let's see this step by step. Oh shit, it's not gonna show me? Really? Fine, I'll do it myself. Where is... What port is RDP on? is very interesting stuff because really? And then is this just an IP address then? Nice. What if I ran an nmap on it? What ports would show up? Oh, okay. Come here, ChatGPT. Alright, let's see. I'm on PowerShell. We'll get out of here. 3.5 is fine for now. Oh, okay. Oh, then no. Interesting, didn't want to run that. Firefox want to start? No. I'm on Kali PowerShell terminal line. How do I RDP into machine with? How do I do it? Wow, okay, that did work. I need to add that immediately to the Git book. So, actually, I'm just gonna do this. Add subnode. RDP to Windows. Boom. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay. Microsoft O2, we do know the machine name is that. Do you trust the above certificate? Yes. Of course, of course. Whoa. How is that there? What? Upload the attached file name. Okay. PowerShell. Could I launch as admin? Okay, so that means that we need to come over here and do cd downloads ls-latr, and we are going to do python 3 -m http.server port 80 ifconfig. Is wget on PowerShell? Oh, it is. Very nice. Okay. Here we go. So we're gonna do wget http boom boom 10. That's probably actually impossible for you guys to see. Can I zoom in on this? Why don't you want to? Oh. Edit. Properties. Here we go. Font. So you guys can There we go. 10, 10. If that's still bad, please tell me. 10, 10, 15, 130. Oh, great. Probably gotta run HTTP before that to specify so it doesn't try and go there. 480 backslash. What was that file called? Upload underscore win dot zip. It worked. It worked. Unzip the archive. Okay. Now, unzip upload underscore win dot zip. Okay, so would it be gunzip? How do you unzip a file? Okay. PowerShell CLI unzip. Why is expand archive? Because gunzip is too hard, right? This is why I really like Linux. What? Where is it going? Where is it going? Oh, because it's dir. What is that copy? Windows list files. Okay. I did. Where's this file going? In Windows, but file is not in current directory, and it says 200 and I was able to retrieve it. What file is, or what? Not even that. Where is that file? LS does work in PowerShell. Interesting. Rerun with specified directory. Be absolutely sure the download you can explicitly specify the output directory. Interesting. Okay. So actually just give me this. Give me a notepad. And we are going to be HTB student for today. It's not going to work, but that will. Okay, so that's in downloads now. That is an uncontested argument. So we're gonna do cd downloads dir. There it goes. Okay. Needed to specify, that's another great command. RDP to Windows. Let me add this to the file transfer for Windows. wget curled. Should I add music? I feel like that's what we're lacking here. We need some music. Copyright free music. House. Yeah. Unmute. There we go. Alright, that's better. Now let's pin the tab. Close it. And what was the command we're supposed to run? Hasher? Oh wait, no, hold on. Unzip. Or wait, no. There's that funky command. Expand archive. There we go. There. Oh, okay. cd upload _ win. Dir. Hasher. Up. Oh, you guys can't even see it. Upload. And I'm going to tab for autocomplete. Love it. There it goes. Copy. Awesome. Got it. We're good. I'm going to use the bathroom super quickly. I will be right back. Alright. Let's see. Upload the attached file name to upload WinZip. We got that. I'll do the optional, of course. Challenge your understanding of the module content and answer the optional question below. Either consider supplementary content or not required to complete the module. You can reveal the answer anytime. Connect to the target machine via RDP and practice various file transfer options with your attack host. what were the other ones? We'll try one more. Where's that cheat sheet at? Bit admin. Use Python. I always use wget. What's that? It's not even running on Windows. I guess it doesn't matter. That's literally what I use. I just run the Python 3 HTTP server, and it works for Windows and Linux. And that has never failed me. What was the answer? Yeah. Alright. Get that thing on my face. Alright, here we go. PowerShell. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get up here. Alright. Linux file transfer methods. This is what we want. Oh wait, actually, hold on. I need to download this cheat sheet. Right? Can I insert? Oh, that's running on my main. Here we go. Honestly, it might be easier to just copy everything. And then I'm also gonna bring this over because I feel like for putting it into Gitbook, it makes sense to do it in Markdown format so you can copy paste it versus an image, which I think is gonna be quite reckless of me to actually do. So let's copy it. Alright, or Linux. Let's see what Linux wants. Linux is a versatile OS with many different tools to perform file transfers. A few years ago, we were contacted to perform incident response on web servers. We found multiple threat actors in 6 out of the 9 web servers we investigated. The threat actor found an SQL injection vulnerability. They used a bash script when executed, attempted to download another piece of malware that connected to the threat actor's command and control server. The bash script they used tried 3 download methods to get the other piece of malware that connected to the command and control server. Its first attempt was to use curl. If that failed, it was wget, and then it used Python. All 3 methods use HTTP communicate. Although Linux can communicate via FTP, SMB like Windows, most malware on all different operating systems uses HTTP and HTTPS for communication. This section will review multiple ways to transfer files on Linux, HTTP, bash, SSH. Alright, this one we should be cooking through. Yeah, we know this. MD5 checksum, encode, base64. Dash WO flag. What is that? Actually, we'll just do this. Man base 64. -W. Wrap. Wrap encoded lines after column character. Use 0 to disable line wrapping. Oh, okay. So it just disabled line wrapping, so it goes like this. Just shoots it straight out. We copy this content, paste onto our Linux machine, decode the file, echo base64 DIDRSA. The reason they're showing you how to do this is because the importance of base64 in data extraction. It can bypass a lot of filters in terms of data going out. So if it's in plain text, there's a good chance that their firewall or WAF also monitors outbound traffic, and being base64 encoded will not think anything of it, versus if it was plain text, it would be able to see that it was an IDRSA key, and there's a possibility that it would block it. Finally, we can confirm if the file is transferred successfully using MD5 checksum. Web downloads are wgetting curl. We know this. We just ran this. Curl is a good one. I'm very interested in learning more about curl. Fileless downloads are curl. Oh, then it just executes. I see what it says. I see what this says. Fileless just means that it executes and it doesn't store the file after or before execution, which is actually pretty sexy. I'm not even gonna mark this because we know this, but the fileless download is a pretty sexy command, in all honesty. Fileless download with wget. And it just runs Python 3. It's the same thing. Wget. Oh, I guess not. What is that? Man wget -q. Quiet. Oh. It's just quiet and then it just starts the completion. Okay. Downloading with bash. There's also many situations where none of the well-known transfers are available. As long as bash version 2.04 or greater is installed, compiled with enable net redirections, the built-in dev TCP device file, because remember everything in Linux is a file, even your USBs and microphones, which is pretty crazy. The built-in dev TCP device file can be used for simple file downloads. Whoa. Is this in cheat sheet? It is not. Okay. Wow, that's pretty intense. Okay. What module are you on? Gecko? I am on file transfers. And I'm doing the Linux file transfer method now. This one seemed pretty boring though, but foundational. Yeah, file transfers. The biggest thing for me was trying to figure out how to RDP into a Windows machine. I don't do any Windows boxes. But it's pretty easy that you can just curl and wget from either Linux or Windows. So it's all the same. That was my main concern. SSH, secure copy protocol. We know this. We know this. We know this. We've done SCP. But for the others, SSH is a protocol that allows secure access to remote computers. SSH implementation comes with an SCP utility for remote file transfer that by default use the SSH protocol. SCP is a command line utility that allows you to copy files and directories between two hosts securely. We can copy our files from local to remote servers and from remote servers to our local machine. SCP is very similar to copy or CP, but instead of providing a local path, we need to specify a username, remote IP address, or DNS name, and the user's creds, because it's transfer over SSH. Before we begin downloading files from our target Linux machine to our phone box, let's set up an SSH server. Linux download files using SCP. That's funny. Upload operations such as binary exploitation and packet capture, analysis, where we must upload files from our target machine onto our attack host. The methods we use for downloads also work for uploads. Let's see how we can upload files in various ways. Web uploads, I mentioned the Windows file transfer section. We can use upload server, an extended module of the Python HTTP server module, which includes a file upload page. Interesting. First thing we do is install upload server module. I don't know if I have this. What does that user flag do though? Do I want to add that? Web server should not have a certificate. We recommend creating a new directory as a file for our web server. Now from our compromised machine, let's upload. Oh. Seriously? Can I just run this on 80? Pip install is just so freaking slow. Use Ramina for SSH RDP. I do have Ramina. Somewhere. Man, I have Quake. I forgot about Quake. Oh, we may only have it on. Yeah, Quake. Quake is just bigger. I love Quake. It just pops up this little terminal at the top. So we're waiting for pip to finish, and pip takes forever. 80 or 81 for Python server. Okay. That makes sense. I was just seeing if I can do, instead of having to worry about the certificate, it's gotta be. There's no way that it forces a TLS connection. Should be my choice. My body, my computer, my choice. Certificates are tricky, Gecko. Certificates are very confusing, and I don't blame you. That's one field that I really have a hard time grasping. About it's not necessarily the certificates that are confusing, it's the relationships between the pieces of certificates, because you have your root CA, and then you have your intermediate CAs, and then you have your certificate, and then you also have client certificates, you have server-side certificates, and then you can get wildcard certificates, and then you can get subdomain. Well, I guess wildcard certs are for any subdomain. But then you have to match up to the signs, subject alternative names. Okay, that worked. So we don't even need a server. I love that. Wow, okay, that's actually really cool. Because that means anytime I'm on a computer or a remote desktop, I can sudo Python 3. No. This. Upload server, and then you just rip the curl request. That is so awesome. And then you can file transfer back. On the way to CPTS since January. I'm about 33%. Nice. Is that the same module? CPTS? We're doing the same one? Pen test? This one? Yeah, CPTS. Yeah. Yeah, the whole reason I'm doing this is because, one, I want to take the OSCP by the end of the summer. Two, people are saying if you can complete the CPTS and you understand it, you're over prepared at that point for the OSCP. So that's very reassuring to see. People say if they run through this course and then they take the OSCP, they just absolutely walk it. Nice. Yes, I want to do the bug bounty one also after. I gotta stay focused. I get like hyper fixated on different side projects and other things, and keep veering off from the goal, which is the OSCP. But that's okay. I gotta keep things interesting. All the others simple except the above. Yeah, the over preparation is great. If I'm spending that much money, I want to be over prepared. There's no like taking it twice. See, we do this. We already run this. Oh, I didn't know default was 8,000. I always specify 80. Oh, you can even do 2.7. Creating web server with PHP. What? Dude, that's definitely some weird CTF stuff. Where they're like, oh, you need to upload a file to this endpoint, but Python's disabled. It would take so long for me to figure out you could run that through PHP or Ruby. From one voucher. Oh, actually, you get 2 tries? Are you talking about the OSCP? You get 2 tries? The problem I find with OSCP is it's such a simple beginner exam that if you over prepare, you might skip the basics, like pack for reuse default. OSCP calling it a simple beginner exam, Rodnet, is a insanely hot take. I agree that it's beginner in the sense for moving forward after the OSCP, like in terms of penetration testing. But the OSCP exam itself is very advanced, but it's beginner for the pen testing career. Dude, if you take the OSCP and you pass the OSCP, you will pass the Security Plus with flying colors. I took the Security Plus like 2 years ago at this point now. I took the Security Plus, and then immediately after that, what is that? The SSCP. There's like 80% overlap, so if you take the Security Plus and pass, immediately turn around and take the SSCP like the next week. It's the best you could do. There's so much overlap. You get 2 certificates for studying for pretty much 1. But I see what you're saying, Rodnet, is that the OSCP focuses on simple concepts, so you might be thinking too deeply when you take it and looking for way more advanced things and overthinking. Like your knowledge at that point would hurt you. We may find some companies that allow SSH for outbound connections. I like that. I like that. That's also going in the cherry tree. Winders. No, this is Linux. Start it. Yeah, Gecko. If you take the Security Plus or SSCP, doesn't matter which one first, and you pass one of them, immediately turn around and take the other. There's so much overlap. You'll pass both. I forgot what the difference was, but I'd say there's 80% overlap, and then the SSCP, there's 1 or 2 modules on the SSCP that isn't covered by Security Plus. So like Security Plus is here, SSCP is like right above it. So if you take SSCP, you could take Security Plus the same day and pass. If you take Security Plus, study for like a week, and then you can cover this little gap here. Much worth. Much worth. Download the file from the web root using Python. Why can't I just do that? Just do that. Using Python, get out of here. I'm not gonna use Python. I'm a wget guy. Upload the attached file named. Okay. We definitely don't need a hint here. We run Linux. ls-latr. Upload nix.zip. SCP. Upload _nix.zip to htb student at whoa. Password, because we know temp we're always going to have write permissions in. We always know that. So temp is by far our safest bet. That's why you always run piece from it. Let's go. Alright, so now we're going to SSH right into that. Watch this. So we're going to take this, Control C. I'm an idiot. It's Control Shift C on the CLI. Oh my gosh. Gun zip. Don't play with me. The Windows one was whack. It was like extract value uppercase. Watch. Copy unload underscore next dot zip. So we're just gonna do next dot. Oh wait. Man gun zip. How to dash X or dash S maybe? So could we do dash S? Oh, dash F. Okay. Dash S. G-zip. Okay, so we're gonna do copy, upload, next zip to next.gzip. Now we're gonna gun zip next.gzip. Tab. Oh, .gz, excuse me. There it goes. Cat mix. There it is. Okay. And then it wanted to run a hasher. So hasher on next. There it goes. What an absolute effort. Yes. No. We know our strategies. Why is there only... This honestly makes me feel even better that the download and upload is one for all, meaning it's Windows and Linux. That was my biggest concern, was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to learn a whole new file transfer and just complete methodology and understanding when I go to Windows. But a lot of it is rinse, repeat. Love it. Yeah, I got you, Gecko. One of my OSCP machines had a web app that you view source, and there was a username in the comments. If you didn't enumerate that, you couldn't password reuse properly. Stuff like that is unrealistic. Yeah, CTFE is a perfect explanation to explain a scenario like that. Like, that is 100%. But also, to be fair, it's not completely unrealistic because in bug bounties, information disclosure is extremely common where people will do that. They'll add comments to files, and it could be maybe not a password, but it would be like an API key, for example. I think user creds would be pretty incredible to find like an SSH creds commented out in a web page. Again, it's unrealistic, but people do that. It's failure in the sense of failure. You sacrifice security for convenience, and that's a very common issue. Is that people care about convenience, and they may say, "Oh, I'm just gonna throw this SSH stuff in here, and I'll take it out later." That 1 out of 10 times where they don't take it out, you're cashing in. But again, like you said, it's unrealistic. It's hard, but it's definitely possible, and it is very CTFE. Because a lot of issues like prepping for OSCP, I see that try-hack-me is not that good because try-hack-me is very CTFE. But yeah, you definitely have to think at a lower level to succeed on the OSCP. But it's possible. You could find creds in there. Transferring files with code. Okay, this is what we were just talking about. This one. Python. Whoa. Python is popular programming language because version 3 is supported where Python 2.7 still exists. Python can run one-liners from an OS command. Python 3 download, -c, import. Oh, then it runs it. No. PHP download a file, get contents. PHP download. PHP download a file in Python bash. I like that one because then it executes when Ruby, Perl download, JavaScript download, VB script. Oh my gosh, macros. Whew. This is all knowledge that it's good to understand that this is a possibility, but you don't really need to memorize this. You could just look that up. And this, of course, isn't all if all else fails. Like, I highly doubt a lot of people's first instinct to download a file isn't curl or wget, and they resort to Python 2.7 or Python 3. And that's a lot more to type than just wget http IP address /linenum.sh upload done. I do like the file list though. The file list is very slick. Like where is it? Look at this. Add subnode. File list. Speaking of which, I actually want to go back. File list on wget. Love it. Okay. Oh, web upload. What was that again? I don't know anything about industry. I was going to finish CPTS and look for a job and go with bug bounty on the side. But I heard that Security Plus and OSCP are more recognized as industry standard. Yeah, that's the thing is the HTB certificates just, I feel like, haven't been around long enough to be accredited as much as OSCP. And OSCP is a beginner level cert, but it's enough, I think, on top of some other home lab and other experience to easily land you a job as a penetration tester. That's pretty much what it is. Like, oh my gosh, excuse me. I see people on LinkedIn, they're talking about they get the OSCP, they post that they got the OSCP, and they're immediately getting job offers for it, which is pretty sweet. So the OSCP does carry a lot of weight. Alright, we'll do a few of these. Get out of here. Oh wait, never mind. What's in the home directory? Can I reset this display? There we go. There's one long list. Oh, then there's nothing. Okay. Oh, which one should we try? Let's try Ruby or Pearl. I'm not even really trying anything, I'm just freaking copy pasting. PHP not found. Ruby. Ruby not found. Pearl. Pearl. Pearl is found. I love how they use Linenum. Cannot locate LWP simple INC made to install LWP simple module. What was this? Upload? Python 3 command import request, request post, send this information, Etsy password to, this would be my address. I would just replace this with mine, I believe. Oh, actually no, this would upload, oh, don't you need to, maybe that's assuming you already started a server. It is, okay. That's what it is, and we saved that, I love that. Type done. Probably defensive analyst or so. Got the info that I needed. Thanks, means a lot. Also, I've been here since your first stream, I think. No way, Gecko. Dude, that is awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, 54 days later now. With a couple part 2s and 3s in between, so probably like 65, 70 streams at this point. That's awesome. Yeah, try harder, brother. That's what it always came down to. It still does, always. Miscellaneous file transfer methods. This is what I mean by over prepare for OSCP. This is so out of pocket. Also cover ways to achieve the same goal using different programming languages, but there's still more methods and applications. Netcat is so versatile. Netcat is a computer networking utility for reading, form, and writing connections. We love Netcat for shells. A target or attacking machine can be used to initiate the connection, which is helpful if a firewall prevents access to the target. Let's create an example and transfer a tool to our target. In this example, we'll transfer sharp cats from our pwn box onto the compromised machine. We do it using two methods. We'll first start netcat on the compromised machine, listening with option L. Okay, this is literally like bash one-liners for reverse shells. It's just instead of sending back a terminal session, you're now sending over tools. Receive only. Netcat attack host sending files to compromised machines. So it pulls down the tool that you want to use using wget, and then creates a netcat connection, sends over sharp cats. Rather than -Q, send only flag when used in both connect and listen modes prompts netcat to terminate. Interesting. Do I have a netcat section in the Git book or in the cherry tree? I have to add all of this to the Git book repo. I'm so behind. I have to grind that. I owe you guys that. Nabo. That must have just been a misspell. Alright, add some. I'll just use this one. I like that, how it executes immediately after, or terminates. It's good OPSEC. Sudo netcat listener port 443. Attack host sending files as input. What is the difference? Victim, netcat listener. Oh, in this instance, they start it. Or wait, what? What's the difference? So the netcat listens. We send it. In this one, we create a listener on our attacker, and they connect. What? Oh, it's send only. And then that'll be receive only. Or dash Q 0. Well, Q's wrap. Yeah, receive only. Okay. That's different. Victim. These are gonna get confusing. These are gonna get really confusing. So let's just pick the ones we like. So receive only. Send only. Instead of listening on a compromised machine, we connect back to a port on our attack host to perform the file transfer. This method is useful in scenarios where there's a firewall blocking inbound connections. I see. It's using NC. It's using netcat instead. The skills assessment of these modules are great. I agree. The exam is pretty brutal. Are you thinking of doing the CPTS just for fun? No, I don't even know if I'm going to take the CPTS. I'm just going through the CPTS training to take the OSCP. But I know that CPTS over prepares you for OSCP. Hence that. Setting file as input. Have you taken the CPTS, Rod? PowerShell. Windows is so careful. We actually did use RDP. I was gonna say that section seemed a bit much. That's it's gonna be some funky CDF. It's gonna come back and bite me in the ass for skipping that. But I padded with 100%. I think it was like 50th cert holder. No way. That is so cool. Are you in the industry then, Rod? That's awesome. Haha. The 50th cert holder, that's so cool. So you're a beast. Fuck. Oh my god. I need to turn the light on. On the side. Oh, very cool. I do, hold on, this fucking OBS thing messed me up. I do, secrets management engineering for our threat prevention team. Which the title doesn't really make sense. But I'm on the engineering side, and it's funny, every intern that we interview, we're always like, oh, what interests you about cybersecurity? Why do you want to be in the industry? And they always say, oh, ethical hacking, I want to do penetration testing. It's like, everybody says that. But now I'm like, all right, I want to put my money where my mouth is, and I actually really want to do it. So, hence the now day 54 grind of going for the OSCP. So that's pretty much what this whole series is I want to be able to look back. It's funny, you can even look back now at like the first episode, and I was so lost on the first box, and I think it was day 47, day 48, I did the first HTB box without a walkthrough. So it's just been crazy seeing the progress since day one, and especially looking back now, I can say I got the proof. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm doing it, and I got some sick people like you guys to help me out and walk me through it when I need it. But it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed the journey so far. What I'm not enjoying is this protected file transfers. You know what? Encrypted file transfers? Alright, as a penetration tester, we often gain access to highly sensitive data such as user lists, creds, and enumeration data that can contain critical information about the organization's network infrastructure and AD environment, etc. Therefore, it is essential to encrypt this data or use encrypted data connections such as SSH, SFTP, and HTTPS. However, sometimes these options are not available to us and a different approach is required. Unless specified requested by the client, aka in scope, we do not recommend exfiltrating data such as PII, financial data, which I deal with every day, trade secrets, etc. from a client environment. Instead of attempting to test DLP controls, create a file with dummy data that mimics the data the client is trying to protect. File encryption on Windows. Many different methods can be used to encrypt files. So this is another like obscure method of encryption. One of the simplest methods is the invoke AES encryption PS1 script. So this just encrypts files. Create a module out of it. I'm sure a lot of this just working on PowerShell CLI all day, you just kind of understand how this stuff works. Maybe not necessarily scripting this yourself because this seems pretty intense. But like importing modules, which I'm sure is just like a syslink, a hard link command, like mmap. Yeah, it's just like that. So is mmap then on Linux considered a module? Using very strong file encryption on Linux. OpenSSL is frequently included in Linux distros with sysadmins, Rodnet, using it to generate security certs among other tasks. OpenSSL can be used to send files NC style. To encrypt files. To encrypt a file using OpenSSL, we can select different ciphers, see OpenSSL man page. Let's use AES 256 as an example. We can also override the default iteration counts with the option iter 100,000 and add the option pbkdf2 to use the password-based key derivation functions to algo. When we hit enter, we'll need to provide a password. So I'm assuming, oh, it is. So it's a symmetric algorithm, which makes sense because there's wouldn't be a need for a public-private key pair. And also encrypting with AES 256 is a symmetric algorithm. And I memorized that because AES is symmetric because it doesn't start with an A, like asymmetric algorithms such as RSA 4896, which doesn't start with an A. But that's how I remember these algorithms being asymmetric or symmetric encryption algorithms. Remember, use a strong and unique password to avoid brute force cracking attacks that should unauthorized party obtain the file. To decrypt the file, we can use the following command: decrypt password ENC. We can use any of the previous methods to transfer this file, but it's recommended to use a secure transfer method such as HTTPS, Secure File Transfer Protocol, or SSH. As always, practice the examples in this section against target hosts in this or other modules, and reproduce what you can, such as OpenSSL examples using Pwnbox. The following section will cover different ways to transfer files over HTTP and HTTPS. Caching files over HTTPS. Web transfer is the most common way most people transfer files because they are the most common protocols allowed through firewalls. Another immense benefit is that in many cases, the file will be encrypted in transit. There's nothing worse than being on a penetration test and a client's network IDS intrusion detection system picks up on a sensitive file being transferred over plaintext and having them ask why we sent a password to our cloud server without using encryption. We have already discussed using Python 3 upload server module to set up a web server with upload capabilities but we can also use Apache or Nginx. This section will cover creating a secure web server for file upload operations. Yes. That makes sense. That's what I was saying earlier about why they do base 64 encoding on output. When allowing HTTP uploads, it is critical to be 100% positive that users cannot upload web shells and execute them. Apache makes it easy to shoot ourselves in the foot with this, as the PHP module loves to execute anything ending in PHP. Configuring Nginx to use PHP is nowhere near as simple. Create a directory to handle uploaded files. Change the owner to www-data. Caching files erased, yes. Create Nginx config file. Create the Nginx configuration file by creating the file at the Nginx site's available upload count with the contents. Put. Address news. Hold on one sec, I'm getting a call.
attention, her you hear I'm crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us and some guidance from above. 'Cause right now people have me questioning, where is the love? The love, the love. Where is the love, the love, the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love, the love, the love? What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. The whole world's addicted to the drama, only attracted to the things that'll bring you trauma. Overseas, yeah, we trying to stop the terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. But if you only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate, and to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Man, this is what you demonstrate, and that's exactly how ignorance and operates. And you gotta have love just to set it straight, to control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to the love, y'all, y'all. The love, y'all, y'all. To the love, y'all, y'all. The love, y'all, y'all. To the love, y'all, y'all. The love, y'all, y'all.
figure out plans for 4th of July. Alright, detection. CLI detection based on blacklisting is straightforward to bypass, even using case obfuscation. However, the process of whitelisting all command lines in a particular environment is initially time-consuming and very robust and allows for quick detection and alerting on any unusual command lines. Most client-server protocols require the client and server to negotiate how content will be delivered before exchanging information. This is common with HTTP. There is a need for interoperability amongst different web servers and web browsers to ensure that users have the same experience no matter their browser. HTTP clients are most readily recognized by their user agent string, which the server uses to identify which HTTP client is connecting to it. For example, Firefox, Chrome, etc. User agents are not only used to identify web browsers, but anything acting as an HTTP client and connecting to a web server via HTTP can have a user agent string, i.e. curl, Python script, or common tools such as SQL map or Nmap. Interesting. Organizations can take some steps to identify potential user agent strings by first building a list of known legitimate user agent strings. User agents used by default OS processes, common user agents used by update services such as Windows Update, antivirus. That just reminded me of NordVPN. These can be fed into a seam tool used for threat hunting to filter out legitimate traffic and focus on anomalies that may indicate suspicious behavior. Any suspicious-looking user agent strings can then be further investigated to determine whether they were used to perform malicious actions. This website is handy for identifying common user agent strings. A list of user agent strings is available here. Also, a list of user agent strings. Let's do this. Clear. You guys see that? Yeah, so let's do locate seclist grep user agents. Yeah, and then let's do head number of lines. We'll do 20. Look at all of these, and we can tail it also. This would be good if you want to use a. This is just good OPSEC to just rotate through these. When you're running like an Nmap command, any active and direct. Malicious file transfers can also be detected by their user agents. The following user agent headers were observed from common HTTP transfer techniques. Windows NT, Windows PowerShell. So this is how to defend against. This is on the defense. This just scratches the surface on detecting malicious file transfers. It would be an excellent start for any organization to create a whitelist of allowed binaries or a blacklist of binaries known to be used for malicious purposes. Furthermore, hunting for anomalous user agent strings could be an excellent way to catch an attack in progress. We will cover threat hunting and detection techniques in depth in later modules. Changing user agent, that's what we just looked at. You can run an Nmap script with I know you can use a different user agent. I don't know if you can do a rotating user agent. That would be a good question. If diligent administrators or defenders have blacklisted any of these user agents, invoke web request contains a user agent param. Which allows different Opera, which we just saw when we headed. And then we saw Mozilla Firefox when we tailed it. It's a big list. Request for Chrome user agent, evading detection, netcat, listener, user agent, Mozilla Windows, Chrome, Safari. That's marked.
Application whitelisting may prevent you from using PowerShell or Netcat, and command line logging may alert defenders to your presence. In this case, an option may be to use LOL bin, living off the land binary, alternatively also known as misplaced trust binaries, which is a perfect example of pervesc. You see all the time in CTFs. Every time in a CTF, actually, you get to. Well, I guess not every time, but if they've misset permissions on binaries, that's where pervesc related to binaries comes in. An example LOL bin is the Intel graphics driver for Windows 10 installed on some systems and contains functionality to download config files periodically. This download functionality can be invoked as follows: transfer files with gfx download wrapper.exe, gfx download wrapper execute mimikatz. What is mimikatz? What is the Windows significance of mimikatz? Ooh, interesting. Cred dumper. Okay. As we've seen in this module, there are many ways to transfer files to and from our attack host between Windows and Linux systems. Was there another cheat sheet? No. Assertutil.exe Windows. SCP SSH. Honestly, that's probably going to be your best bet in CTFs, especially because there's usually an SSH portion, which acts as like a load progress when you get login credentials in order to escalate to root. So that makes SCP most common. But GTF opens I've used a whole lot. What is like root flag on admin? Interesting. And file transfers is done, just like that. What did I miss? Oh. Awesome. We just completed the file transfer module. This is pretty much where we started, was with footprinting. I am very familiar with Nmap. We even have the Discord bot for Nmap. Golden assessment. Oh, let me okay, I'm probably gonna call it for right now. But before I do,
Discord. I want to share the link to the Discord. I'm gonna upload the other ones as well. There we go. Awesome. All right. I will see y'all later. I'm going to be back on later.